Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So right now there's a pretty big debate in the gaming scene about whether or not Rockstar has gone woke and whether or not that might impact the quality of GTA 6, which is arguably one of the most anticipated games of all time. Now, the short answer to everything we're going to cover today is yes. It appears that Rockstar has gone woke and has entrenched itself in a whole lot of DEI that's affecting its hiring practices and some of the decisions throughout the company. But does that impact the quality of GTA 6? We'll have to wait and see. But why are we having this conversation? Well, it stems from this series of posts right here in the video shared here by Endymion, who is a YouTuber who covers gaming related news. You can see he shares his proof in this video about why he thinks Rockstar has gone woke. And you can see something odd about these two posts here sharing this video. There is a rate proposed community notes message right here, meaning people are making proposed notes, trying to make it go live, but it doesn't have enough upvotes to go live yet. And here's an example of one of those proposed notes saying this content creator doesn't give any solid argument or proof. He just tried to trigger his fan base of teenagers to get angry at an imaginary scenario. I think Buddy was having a stroke trying to write this sentence because it's just terrible. But as you can see, it's a lot of projection. There's a lot of activists on social media who are very angry about this video because it proves that Rockstar has gone woke in many different ways. And in the video, you would think this 25 minute long video Endymion uploaded, you would think he's just pulling stuff out of his ass. He's making things up or just speculating about rumors. But the entirety of the video is riddled with receipts proving everything that he is citing when he says that Rockstar has gone woke. And he did this with the help of this account who helped gather a lot of public information because these DEI programs and some of these advocates, they don't hide their agenda. They are not someone who's trying to subvert anything because they're just accepted and they're embraced by a lot of companies. And that Park Place would cover Endymion's video and the screenshots and proof they got. And this is really where I want to start, where there is a big shift over the past couple of years at Rockstar, where a lot of the senior leadership, the people who made the GTA franchise what it is today, were leaving the company, and simultaneously a bunch of new hires and also DEI related programs and certifications started being forced upon the employees there, in particular forced upon the white employees. And one of those certification programs is right here. It is called Unconscious Bias by Stacy Gordon here. And of course, you can see the course details of this and the skills you'll gain: unconscious bias awareness training and diversity and inclusion, which is a weird thing. So if I complete this, I am now a master of diversity and inclusion. Interesting. But you can see, like I said, unapologetic. These people are open about their agenda. This is the way she describes herself. This is her words, not mine. She is a bias disruptor and an unapologetic evangelist for inclusion. That sounds like something a person would come up with to insult these people. But anyways, you can see this focuses on unconscious bias. And if you kind of cut the crap and just explain what these people mean by this, they're basically saying that people, white people, have this inherent racist set of biases that they have towards other races. And the solution to that is going through these courses and paying these people to basically tell you you're racist and then give you some sort of a shame for who you are. And that's really it. It doesn't really solve a whole lot. They think this is some very progressive program when it's just really a bunch of nonsense to basically grift money out of people. But let's talk a little bit more about this individual and some other programs that she has been a part of, and they are quite insane, as pointed out by Endymion here.
She then shows her podcast called Inclusionomics, yes, that's a real name, about how everyone who is white is racist no matter what. But let's keep going because it gets worse. Stacy Gordon also hosts sessions talking about microaggressions and how black people specifically are disenfranchised and must be lifted up to become more powerful, specifically in the gaming industry.
Okay, so a couple things to say about that. Number one, how infantilizing it is to basically say that minorities have no shot at success unless they're boosted in one way or another. And on top of that, we hear about these programs in the gaming industry, and that's not surprising. These are throughout every industry, and some people even do these things recreationally. Like, you would think, why would anybody subject themselves to these sorts of programs and these classes and things about this subject? Well, this isn't anything new, and if you want an extreme example of this, this was a program covered in the movie Am I Racist by Matt Walsh, where he goes undercover to expose some of these DEI related programs, and one of them is a program that was titled Race to Dinner. Now, this is one of the most insane programs you'll ever see. So basically, these white women, it's only white women, particularly Karens, pay these two DEI specialists to attend a dinner for hours. The only point of it is for these DEI specialists to tell them how racist they are by just existing, and that they're inherently racist, that they're racist in general, and also they try to basically pull stories out of them, get them to confess times in their lives where they were racist or they did microaggressions to minorities and things like that. And also, to begin the program, they're told if they are compelled to tears, to cry during this dinner special, they are asked to leave the table and go into a separate room because their tears, their white woman tears, are a form of a microaggression. Yes, people pay thousands of dollars to attend this. It is monetized humiliation fetishes, okay? So that's kind of the point, right? Like, if people are paying to attend these, you better bet that these companies feel very free to go into the industry and try to coax their way into companies like Rockstar to get them to pay for their courses and make money off of basically hustling this whole sort of idea of inherent bias and things like that. But let's continue on with the next part of the video, which talks about how inundated this program is at Rockstar and how it's being targeted towards only a very specific set of employees at the company.
As seen here on LinkedIn, connecting Rockstar's LinkedIn account to this Stacy Gordon's unconscious bias tag here, it immediately pings 60 members of Rockstar Games. Francesco was able to go through these, and based on what he found, of the 60 employees forced to take this unconscious bias course in order to gain a certificate, around 58 of them were white people. The other 2 of these 60 people were of Asian descent, but this...
Okay, so that probably doesn't surprise anyone. These programs are only being thrusted upon the white employees, and then when he said there was 2 out of that group that were not white, I immediately thought to myself the first time listening to this, it's going to be Asian people, isn't it? Because we've heard in the industry, the gaming industry alone, multiple times this year we've covered tweets that are similar to this, where people say that Asians are white adjacent. I mean, just leave it to some of these anti-racist people to come up with some of the most racist stuff you'll ever see. But that's sort of the plan of this program. Only the white employees and these other Asian employees have to take this, and it's being targeted at them. And that's got to feel pretty weird when you're at a company like Rockstar. And on top of that, what's interesting is a lot of people online, or people on Twitter, I should say, are like, oh, they're making this stuff up. They're not making this up. This is very easy to trace, right? Again, everything's public, and you go to their LinkedIns, you can see the 60 people have taken the course at Rockstar, and you can just open their profiles and see what they look like and determine that they're basically all white. And also, let's continue on, because there's another program that he points out that is being forced upon a lot of employees at Rockstar called Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging. They're creating new program names here. It's not just DEI, it's now DIB.
As you can see here, we also have the DIB course of Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging, and lo and behold, over 1,125,843 people as of the making of this video have been forced through this test, which is a staggering amount of...
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of sales, by the way. Like, damn.
Professionals being filtered through DEI programs by their companies to renounce either their whiteness, their advantages, or biases in the name of the agenda.
So here's the actual LinkedIn page here. You can see a very large amount of participation with this program. The course details are as insufferable as you might think, and it becomes very clear with like these skills you gain and the shareable certificate. This isn't just about virtue signaling, it's also about checking boxes. And in the case of Rockstar, it seems like they're checking boxes to just continue working there as a white person. You have to go through these programs in order to basically go with the company. It seems like this is forced upon them. And also, if you're wondering, what the hell is belonging? This is a description I found of belonging in this new course of DEI, where it says belonging is feeling accepted, valued, and included within a group or organization. In the workplace context, belonging refers to the feeling of being a valued team member and having a sense of connection and community with colleagues, which is so strange. Like, what happened to just going to work, doing your job, and just being respectful to everyone around you and just, having things work that way? Now we have to have like communities and everyone has to be coddled. But anyways, it continues on down here with a solution. How will you achieve belonging in your organization? Well, organizations can promote belonging by prioritizing diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, psychological safety, fostering open communication and teamwork, and creating a supportive and inclusive workplace culture. That was probably the most condensed collection of buzzwords I've ever seen. A whole lot of nothing was being said there, but as you can see with this DIB, there's a lot of changes to DEI. A lot of companies claim that they're going away from DEI. Well, they're just basically rebranding some of these programs they're working with. Instead of working with a team that's all about DEI, they're now working with companies and programs that are DIB, or they go by a different name. We saw this with the Bridge Initiative, one of the biggest DEI proponents out there. All they really did was just drop DEI and explain it in other ways. The whole thing is fueled by DEI, but it doesn't seem obvious unless you take a look deeper into what they do. But let's continue on with the next part of the video, which shows a very bizarre trend of hiring practices at Rockstar over the past couple of years.
Another thing Francesca was able to decipher was that Rockstar has had a staggering amount of employees join them in the last 2 years. But the weird part about a lot of this is that a vast majority of these new hires are coming from a very specific studio in question, that being Behavior Interactive. In case you don't know, Behavior Interactive is a studio that was responsible for games like Dead by Daylight, The Casting of Frank Stone, Meet Your Maker, and even worked on other projects such as Mortal Kombat 1, Immortals of Avium, Gears 5, Rainbow Six Extraction, Borderlands the pre-sequel, Call of Duty Vanguard, and many more. In case you don't know, also, Behavior Interactive is home to DEI agenda pushes like the Wheel of Privilege 2.
Okay, so they have a history at this company of being very woke and having very woke developers, and of course a large amount of employees coming from that company to Rockstar fits the kind of narrative that Rockstar's getting increasingly woke. Now, you heard about this wheel thing, right? This was something that was promoted as a part of an agenda by one of the developers at this studio, and you can see
named Sylvia Duckworth, which I covered in a video recently, made this wheel that details people.
The wheel of power/privilege. And you can see basically the closer you are to the center, the more power you have. And basically, if you look at what they're saying, if you're a rich white man, you have all the power. And if you're anything but that, you're weak and marginalized, and you're basically incapable of anything. And it's all just an uphill battle for you in life. Once again, incredibly infantilizing to say this about people who don't fit whatever your definition of power, the characteristics this person associates with power. All of a sudden, they are weak and incapable. And once again, leave it to the anti-racist woke people to say some of the most offensive and bizarre stuff about race and gender that you'll ever see. But anyways, let's continue on with some of the employees that are working with this company.
Like I said, many people from that studio are now working at Rockstar coincidentally around the same time Dan Houser and the rest left the company in the past few years. One of these people is Wendy Enriquez Donasaint, who is a director of talent acquisition at Rockstar Games currently. Wendy confirms on LinkedIn here where it says Wendy Enriquez Donasaint is the director of human resources and talent acquisition at Bethesda Game Studios. Wendy has over 15 years of experience in human resources and talent acquisition. Wendy started their career as a recruiter at Behavior Interactive in 2005. And now, as we know, she has now moved on to Rockstar, becoming the head of hiring for that company.
So isn't that interesting how not only are these programs just weaved throughout the company, but also the person in charge of hiring is a DEI specialist, someone who is going to obviously have their decisions influenced by these DEI related interests that they have. But looking at some of the employees and their behavior over the years, the more ground level employees, they are off the walls at Rockstar, and it's probably not surprising that they are, given the fact that this is an increasingly woke company.
Sometimes the talent acquisition people below Wendy, they don't even hide their agenda, like Apurva Sharma here, who works in talent acquisition at Rockstar, and literally has DEI advocate on her public LinkedIn profile. Apurva's LinkedIn states in her own words, "I am a talent acquisition professional specializing in technical game development roles at Rockstar Games. I believe in delivering a positive and transparent interview experience that celebrates candidate diversity and fosters an inclusive environment.
Isn't that amazing that right in their own words, in their about section, they admit that they're prioritizing things like the color of your skin in the hiring process? That is an actual factor as to whether or not you're going to be hired by Rockstar. Like, what happened to simply hiring people based on merit? It's completely out the window with people like this.
I am passionate about connecting talented individuals to their dream roles that fulfill, challenge, and value them. And they're open about DEI and advocating for inclusive environments, which is technical speak for we don't want white people here, only diverse people going forward." Then, of course, we have Alicia Powers-Lee, a senior talent acquisition specialist at Rockstar, who has said publicly that she wants all Trump supporters to drop dead.
Well, that's not very inclusive. I mean, that's over half of the United States. And she's saying just because they have different political opinions, they should die. Not only do they not belong, the DIB, they don't just need to be removed from that scenario. They need to be removed from this plane of existence. Yeah, that doesn't sound very inclusive to me.
As you can see right here. Very inclusive of you, Alicia, to want the majority of America to just be wiped off the face of the earth because you don't agree with them politically. Another talent acquisition person is Shannon here. It's weird that they're all women in this department too. Are you noticing that as well? Also, who has worked at Epic Games before and has openly admitted that she also pushes for DEI in gaming, as seen here, because of course
I don't believe it.
Diana
I'm shocked.
here, who also works at Rockstar, also openly admits in her LinkedIn that she advocates for DEI, and even cites DEI implementation to be one of her core skills that is a part of her skill set.
Isn't that so weird that someone lists DEI as one of their skills? It's a skill to understand diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's that big of a priority for them and that valuable that they list it in their skills section on their LinkedIn page. And apparently it works. See, that's the crazy thing. They wouldn't be putting that stuff there if it didn't work. Clearly, appealing to this stuff is getting these people hired at companies like Rockstar. And honestly, he goes on to talk about some examples of employees being angry about being misgendered, and it's not clear if these people are trans, but all of that kind of lines up with some recent decisions from Rockstar, where about 2 years ago they removed transphobic NPCs and jokes from Grand Theft Auto 5, which, imagine offensive content existing in Grand Theft Auto, which centers around criminals, and now they're doing offensive jokes and those have to be removed. It's very, very weird, but this is the last part of the video I want to look at. This is kind of a jaw dropper, one of the weirder things you'll see, where we focus on this last employee here.
Then the final person here is named Craig, and he's a weird one that I don't quite understand 100%, to be honest. But he's been very vocal for children to be exposed to trans stuff. He also works at Rockstar too. He's a Scottish dev who really hates the SNP, or Scottish National Party. He advocates, as you see here, that children should understand how to feel pleasure during intercourse. Yeah, I just feel weird reading this out loud, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. And here's Craig yelling at the Scottish National Party, saying children don't need mothers and fathers again. Super weird that this guy has such a fixation on children and stuff. He also calls the government homophobic here, and then just starts posting a bunch of trans and rainbow flags whenever parties within Scotland want to push for traditional family values and such.
Yeah, so people, like activists on Twitter, they'll be like, "Oh, you're calling this guy weird because he wants gay people, gay couples to be able to raise kids. No, that's not why he's weird. He's weird because it seems like he is angry about a traditional heterosexual set of parents raising a nuclear family. He seems like he wants to dismantle that. That's very weird. It seems like that concept actually makes him mad. That's what's weird about it, okay? No normal person looks at some of these posts and thinks any of this is appropriate, especially the weird stuff involving kids. But anyways, we know kind of the history here. That's the video. A lot of proof that Rockstar has gone woke. I think it's very clear that that company has embraced woke DEI-related policies across the board, and it's affecting their hiring decisions and how they treat and categorize their own employees who may or may not be subjected to some of these programs based on the color of their skin. But of course, people are angry about that, and well, they can stay mad because it seems from these public sources that it's clear that Rockstar is woke, and whether that translates over into GTA 6 is something we'll have to wait and see on. But that's it for now, I guess. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.